Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Houseborn's World YouTube channel. Yes, I have finally got round to doing our next adventure in Xplane 11. I now have all of the ORBX True UK scenery, and over my summer holidays I stayed in Wales in the Snowdonia National Park, used it as a hub, and one of the places I visited was Conwy Castle. And we've actually got that in the ORBX scenery. We're going to go have a flight out, fly around. I'll show you that, the bridge and some bits. Now I was going to fly from Birmingham International Airport, but that is a bit of too long of a flight in the Cessna. Picked the Cessna 172 just so we can bring the speeds back a bit so that we can view all the scenery. Now this video has been some time in production because I wanted to output at 4K, but the actual in-game isn't 4K. That's limited due to the resolution of the Oculus Rift. But with some jiggery pokery, I've got it all sorted out. So we are at Liverpool John Lennon Airport, and we're going to be taking off, flying down the Mersey, along the coast, past Rhyl, down to Llandondo, around the corner to Conwy Castle. Anyway, let's dive straight in and get going. I'm on the runway at Liverpool John Lennon Airport. Let's just take the brakes off. We're going to put a bit of throttle on and we're going to start the aircraft turning. There's nothing coming round by us. We're going to get speed up a bit. We're going to taxi out and be taking off from runway 27. Get our taxi speed too high. We're going to come straight out. I don't think there's anything coming. I'm going to drop on one level of flaps to assist in the takeoff. We're just going to taxi now down to the runway. What I believe the main terminal on our left. I'm not 100% sure. I've never been to this airport in Liverpool. You can see in the distance over there some wind towers, wind turbines making electric. So we're just running down the taxiway to the main runway. A few jets on our left, looks like a bit of a car park. Gotta watch where I'm going because we're coming down the taxiway at a little bit of pace. So this is a new airport to me. I've not been to this airport before. And now that I have the ORBX scenery, the True scenery, developed from Google Maps, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more flights, a lot more travelling around the UK. So there's so much to see. You can see a little church over that side, some houses. They must be happy living next to the airport. Looks like some of the lighter aircraft at the airport down this end. Perhaps we should have gone from there instead of one of the main gates. Right, I'm going to drop the throttle off just a bit here. We'll let the engine start to tick over as we get to the end of the taxiway. Now we should start rotating about 60 knots with the Cessna 172. Once we full throttle lined up on the runway, we don't have to have any effort to get the aircraft airborne. So we're not doing this officially, we're just doing this as like a sightseeing flight, but we are clear to take off. More of the wind farms over off in the corner, a bit of the hill in the distance, someone driving past the apron of the airport. Right, let's get onto the taxiway and get going. So some slight bit of throttle applied. We're heading out, as I said, onto runway 27. We'll just get lined up and then we'll full throttle. So we have full clearance, tower over there. So gaining the throttle now. maximum throttle. We're already on one setting of flaps. We gain momentum down the runway. It also looks like there's a tower on the left hand side there. So we're coming up to 60 knots. Can already feel the front nose wheel lifting, and we are up. I'm just going to nose down slightly just so we can get the views. I'm just going to back off on the throttle just so we can slow down. I probably don't appreciate us taking such a steady flight out. So there is the airport main terminal buildings on the left, the aircraft, and to the left of us that is the Mersey, the River Mersey. It's quite big. I imagine you get a lot of international shipping liners and stuff come through. We're not going to gain a lot of height today, so I'm going to bring the throttle back just a little bit. So as we head out, we're going to turn right. We're going to run down the main channelway, down past the shipping port. Now this may take a little bit of time, so bear with us, because we're not flying very fast at the minute. So from takeoff, runway behind us, I'm going to make a right turn and we're just going to head off down the river. Now as we go, we're just going to have a little bit of chat as well, because one of my subscribers, one of my new subscribers, they're actually no, has asked me, was I going to live stream this video? And I did say like a bit of a maybe I would live stream, but to be honest, with the complexity of setting this video up, I think live streaming it would be extremely difficult. Also, as my Oculus Rift, the resolution in this headset isn't brilliant for text and live chat. I really think I do need better VR before I try and live stream in VR, because the instrument panel in front of me, although there is screen door effect in the Oculus Rift headset, and I can see all the speeds and the larger figures, the altimeter, and that, for example, on the GPS, I have to look up a little bit closer to clearly read stuff. So obviously a better headset, i.e. the valve index, you're going to get proper clarity, and that's, to be honest, where I really want to be heading, or I want to go to before I think about doing live streams in VR. It really would help on the eye fatigue and the actual reading of text. So as we fly out to our right, it's quite a built-up area, the bottom of Liverpool. I don't know Liverpool as an area very well, and we're just going to fly out, follow the Mersey out. Quite a few built-up buildings over there. Sorry again, my geography of the area isn't fantastic. Perhaps something I should have swatted up on a little bit more. I mean, I believe it's the main harbour area that we're going to be going towards. I imagine it's quite an industrialised area. And we're just going to take our steady flight out. So as soon as we've flown directly in front of us, we'll take up the coastline and we'll start heading back towards Wales over there. You can see a very hilly and very picturesque part of the UK. Now we're just flying out, just over 60 knots at the minute, so fairly decent ground speed. And I don't quite know where the main city centre is in Liverpool, or any of the main buildings. Obviously it's quite built up down this bottom end here. What I could do when I edit the video, I could add in some more famous landmarks and bits and pieces, because I can see quite a tower over there, another building there. But we're just going to stick to the river for the minute. I mean, in VR, it's absolutely fantastic. It really does just transform the general scenery that you get in Xplane 11. I mean, normally you wouldn't have this level of detail in it, and it really is good. I mean, anyone who lives in the Liverpool area, and if you've flown out of the airport, I imagine you definitely recognise some of these buildings and some of this area. So live streams in general, because I've only got one screen as my main screen and not a secondary monitor, that's something that is also, I wouldn't say stopping me from live streaming, but it certainly doesn't help. I've used iPad and other stuff previously to help with the chat and that, but live streams are more what I want to get into, that's for sure. So I can see that we've got a tanker coming down the middle of the Mersey at the minute. We've got a destroyer warship parked up, moored up. I think it's a destroyer. I also, if I move up a little bit, I can see a Ferris wheel. So definitely some major landmarks here. That is really, really cool. I actually didn't realise there was this much stuff. I mean, there's that big main building there. That's obviously an entertainment facility. I'll actually have to look that up. As I said, I really don't know the city of Liverpool very well. I mean, little docking harbour area there. Ah, I can actually see that is a P&O ferry just to our left. That's moored up, nice little ocean liner. And that is a cruise ship. It's not a battleship, it's a cruise ship. And if I turn, I don't know whether I can see it because we're going directly over it. There was that tanker below us that was heading out of the port. Quite a big building there. That blue building, that's obviously quite famous. Now, I'm interested to see what all this is in front. Obviously with this VR headset, I can see what looks like electricity towers or area. We'll fly towards it before we pick up that side of the coast. Wow, really is quite a built up harbour area. I mean, I'm experiencing this for the very first time. Hopefully it's your first experience for some of you. Now that does look like a shipbuilding area, something to do with that. I mean, I might be talking complete rubbish there. But as I say, I'm experiencing this for the very, very first time. You can actually see a ship within the harbour. So perhaps this is where they load up all the containers that you get on some of the larger ships. Perhaps it's the cranes and stuff to load the boats up. So here is our left turn coming up. I'm going to fly a little bit more out that way. Perhaps on the video you'll be able to make that out a lot better. Yes, it looks like sets of cranes and that used to load up the ships. So that is the side of Liverpool, obviously famous for the Beatles. We actually, didn't realise that. We got a lighthouse and a little building, castle building down the bottom there. I don't know what that is. I'll have to actually look that up. Yep, they are all cranes and that, and we can see, if I just make sure I'm not going to drop too much height, the cranes and that, it is the shipping harbour where the boats are now loaded up. And to our left is the lighthouse and that little castle complex area. I don't actually know what that is. I'll Google it after the video. I'll throw that in. I'll find out what lighthouse that is as well. Now, I did say we're going to pass down Rill. I don't know how far that is in. It might just be this area here. I know it's on the very edge of the coast down here. We're flying with full visibility at the moment. Very busy down below us. I think manoeuvring around the island. Quite a built up area. Looks like a very beachy area down below. So we're currently about 400 feet and we're manoeuvring down. Obviously scenery is still graphical, and the work that must have gone into it, I mean, you imagine how complex it is to render and make this absolutely true to life. And I've certainly say, taking off from the Birmingham area, that I certainly do recognise landmarks and things. So to have this level of complexity in a simulator and to be running it in VR quite smoothly, to be honest. I mean, hopefully the video's capturing it without any issues. This is the first time I've tried this, but hopefully it's coming out alright. So we're going to keep heading along the coast, and we should be picking up the outer part of tip of Wales very shortly. I think we've got a fair bit to manoeuvre down just yet. Quite an expansive sea out there. So while we're flying, I do want to talk about Flight Simulator 2020. I have applied for the Insider program. Hopefully I'll be selected for that. I can't really give you any more details than that. I won't be allowed to bring any of the content to the channel, I don't think, but I'm certainly happy to be involved with that, and I'm something I'm quite looking forward to. I mean, a lot of you may not know, I was really into Flight Simulator some time ago, and like everything in life, you move on to other things and, you know, try other stuff, have other interests, but VR has relit my passion for flight and things, because VR really enables us to do what we can't afford to do in real life, and I think that's one of the whole points of VR. Obviously it's fun and that, but the simulation aspect of it is fantastic. We're not all going to be a racing driver, we're not all going to afford expensive cars, we're not all going to have the money to have flight lessons, get your private pilot's license, own a plane. So VR just enables you to do so much that you just couldn't do in real life. Not unless you get the lottery win, or you know, you inherit a large amount of money. Right, so this like where the coast comes in, the land goes round to the left hand side. This is still the UK, and what we're actually going to do, we're going to fly straight across and pick up the land and beach directly in front of us, because that end of it, that is going into Wales. So I've done clear weather, I've tried to align the time to the time in real life. So this would be, as it is, flying along on a Saturday afternoon. Quite what that area is to the left, I don't know. I know this is still part of the UK. Whether this corner's real, I'm not sure. I really do need to start swatting up on my geography, that's for sure. So I'm just going to increase the airspeed just a little bit. We're going to just take a little bit of a climb up. So I'm conscious that we were dropping height just a bit there. Lovely expanse of beach to the left. So we're going to fly straight across. I'm not going to actually land the plane when we get to Conwy Castle. I'm going to end the video there after we flew around, had a little look at it. Really is fantastic. And with the VR, obviously it's something I appreciate, that from home you're not quite getting the experience that I am here, but I do actually feel like I am in the Cessna at the moment. We are actually up in the air. Right now we're just over, coming up to 700 feet. I am just going to drop back down again slightly. So we're going to get over to the other side of the coastline. We're going to pick that up and we'll fly adjacent to it, round the tip here, and as long as I have not lost my bearings just yet, I'll be able to tell you in a minute. I think this tip is the tip of Wales on this side, if we've got this right. Really is lovely flying in the Cessna, because it just gives you time to take in everything that's going on around you. It's very, very, very easy to fly, and it's a very, very low airspeed. I have got one layer of flaps on at the minute just to keep the aircraft trimmed out, just so we're not flying up and down all over the place. Now we have hit a little pocket of elevation there, so I'm going to knock back on the throttle just a bit. I suppose really, thinking about this, I should have chose the seaplane and then I could have put it down on the water when we had got round the corner, but oh well, for the purpose of this video we're going to stick with the plane that we're in. So I was mentioning Flight Simulator 2020. I believe the insider program is still open. If you've got the hardware that they're looking for, when you sign up you do have to do a hardware survey, saying what kit you have, what PC you have, how fast your internet connection is, and I think it's the end of October they're going to start releasing builds to certain people. Obviously insider builds have already been going on, but they are going to start pushing those out to people. So we still need to work our way around the coast. I don't think we're quite on the Wales side just yet. I know that because I cannot see the PR2 Landundo yet, so we will keep flying around. I think this is one of the things that the ORBX True Earth scenery highlights about flight, that once you take off, and I've experienced this in real life in one of the flight lessons, once you've took off and left somewhere, if you're unfamiliar with the area when flying, you can lose yourself so quickly. And when you have taken off from the airfield, to relocate the airfield purely by sight, I found almost impossible. Obviously, once you get a bit of local knowledge, the area that you're flying in, you can use landmarks, you can use certain patches of ground, things to help you identify where you are. Right, I'm going to drop on another level of flaps, so that's going to pull the nose up. We're also going to drop back on the throttle, so we are up near 1,000 feet now. So putting the flaps on helps the aircraft to stay in the air. Without the flaps giving us extra lift, as we're lowering the airspeed, we've got a really high risk of stalling. And stalling is when the aircraft does not go enough airspeed to create the airflow over the wings to keep it in the air, and as you're losing height, if you try to pull up, you break the, I don't know what the scientific term is, but you break the airflow over the wings and the plane drops out of the sky like a brick. This plane is equipped with a stall indicator, and it's like an annoying buzzing alarm that would be warning you of a stall. And the way to get round a stall is to apply more throttle, more torque to the engine, producing more airspeed. But depending on the situation you're in, that's not always going to save you. So the recommendation is not to go into a stall in the first place. So for people who have never flew before, it's certainly an expensive thing to get into, and although learning to drive these days I suppose costs a fair bit of money, actually wanting to become a private pilot, having all the lessons, all the flight hours, it's definitely more of a significant cost than learning to drive. But I think some people think that being a pilot is somewhat beyond driving a car, and yeah, you've got a few more dials and controls and switches and things to be aware of, but it's very much still controlling a form of vehicle. And if it's something you've been interested in or thought about but thought it's actually beyond you, I would say if you got the money, challenge yourself, go and find out about it, go and get a taster flight or even try a pleasure flight. I mean, don't get me wrong, heights and things are quite detrimental to some people, and I certainly remember my first time in a Cessna in real life, and I wouldn't say I was scared or had a problem with the height as such. It's just it puts quite a funny feeling on you, especially as you're turning and manoeuvring. Now we have still got quite some distance to go as we're flying around. We're very much coming away from the UK now and into Wales, so we've actually got to head out to that corner. It's actually a longer flight than I was anticipating. I didn't quite realise how much further round it is, and I suppose that's one of the things of looking on a map. The distances look quite short, but when you're even flying in an aeroplane going at 50 knots, it still takes some time to get to where you were going. So I hope you're enjoying the fly along with me at the moment, enjoying the scenery. It certainly would be a nice afternoon's flight out, flying just over coastline. Yep, I certainly know where we are now. That in the far distance over there is the corner of Wales. That will be Llandundo. We should be able to pick up the pier and the other bits quite soon. So can I ask the subscribers within the UK, is there a flight that you would could recommend doing for scenery? Obviously a bit over that way we've got the Snowdonia National Park, we've got the Snowdon Mountain, but obviously I'm aware there's a hell of a lot of other scenery and things to do in the UK. I mean, you've got I suppose the famous ones, Stonehenge, the London City, we could do that. But can you recommend in the comments below where else is good to fly in the UK that we can have a look at the scenery? I mean, obviously at some point I will do Birmingham, but I've lived there for quite a few, well, all my life really. So for me, it's nothing new. I want to discover new things. So again, I've just picked up the throttle just a little bit more because we was dropping slightly low again. So where we're going to head out to, Conwy Castle. I actually went to Conwy Castle for the morning. I think we spent a couple of hours there. And then we actually drove over to Llandundo. Had a bit of a time on the beach, walked along the pier, climbed up onto the top of the hill, which is on the corner of where we're going. Some fantastic views and sights to see from that area. And I really have got to say, if you've never visited Wales, Wales is such a beautiful part of the UK. And for me, living in Birmingham, it's pretty much on the doorstep. Quite some hilly terrain behind us there. See the strobes flickering on the wings. So we have very calm conditions at the minute. Sun's quite high above us. It's now actually 3:15 in the afternoon. So we are not far away now from the end of our flight, really. We just got to get around the corner of the coast here. Such a lovely area, Wales. I mean, it really. If I ever come into great deals of money, it's an area I really would think about moving on, you know, out to, you could say. Right, I'm going to just swing over a little bit just so we can get a better view of the coastline. Could be that this corner's actually real. Sure, really's on the corner before you get over to the tip of Wales. Again, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, because like I say, my geography is not brilliant. Right, we're going to drop a bit of height off now, just so we can come back down a bit. Just taking a short pause here, just taking in the scenery. Really is good. Just checking the Oculus mirror's still up for the recording. Quite a few properties out on the beach there. It's something I have thought about, if I'm honest. Would I want to live by the seaside? Well, what I've actually find that the pace of life by the sea is so much slower. And for me, I'd like a bit of a mixture, if I'm honest about it. I like the pace of the city or the inner city, but I certainly like the quiet of the countryside. So for me, it's got, if I was to, you know, move to a dream place, it's got to be somewhere in the countryside, but on the very tip of civilization. I wouldn't want to go too far away out to the middle of nowhere. But saying that, when I went up to the tip of Scotland, up to Kielder, you do appreciate how much quieter and more peaceful things are where there are less people around. And I do remember driving back and coming back to Birmingham and just thinking that everybody was gone absolutely crazy, people cutting each other up, ambulances going everywhere, it just seemed like there were so many people everywhere. And I must admit, the slower pace of life is certainly somewhat more attractive. Whether that would send you a little stir crazy after a few years of it, I don't know. Like I say, I can be a party animal, or I can be quite subdued, quite chilled, quite relaxed. I really do like a mixture. I think it's good to have a variety of things in life. I'm going to drop the throttle back a bit more. We're going to just drop down a little bit because we will be coming up to Landundo Pier shortly. So if the voice went there. So if this was a live stream, I suppose we'd have a lot more to chat about. But I definitely need better VR for that, without a doubt. Certainly to be able to read text absolutely perfectly. I mean, some of the text in this aircraft I can read quite well, but the tinier text, nah. Not in the Oculus Rift CV1. I mean, the 1200 on the transponder's quite clear, but anything on the navigation, on the GPS, I can sort of make out the numbers, but I've got to look a lot closer. Right, we're about 450 feet. And we're still coming over the coastline. Hope everyone watching the video is enjoying this. Obviously the Cessna is a very more sedate, a lot slower, but if you pick any of the other aircraft, we'll be flying past this way too fast. Lots of muddied areas over there, quite a bit of greenery. It does make me wonder with the better VR headsets how much more you can see into the distance. That is one of the, I wouldn't say issues, no fault of the technology from that time back, but I certainly have to wait till we're a bit closer to things to see them properly come into focus. I mean, it's not like the view's out of focus, but the draw distance isn't huge. I mean, as we saw with those cranes back there on the harbour port at Liverpool, it wasn't until we got nearer to them until I could properly see what they were. A lot of white stone houses and things down there. Oh, 2 trains going past. Oh, mate, that 3 trains, popular area. The shadows coming off the trees. So, ladies and gentlemen, do believe we are coming up to London, and then we will be skirting around the outside of the coast, and when we move around we will be coming up to the open water that leads into Conwy and the bridge and the castle. So I've actually driven this road here down the side of the beachway. Absolutely fantastic views when we drive down there. Some really good driving roads in Wales. I tell you what, it's known for its fantastic driving roads. It's also known for its RC police, who do give out tickets for speeding, a lot more than they do in the UK, that's for sure. But I suppose it's a quieter area, gonna make the money some way. It's a little bridge going across there where the railway line crosses the road, and down in front of us is the pier. I've actually been on the pier here, and I've actually climbed up the hilly area behind it. Tunnel going underneath the bridges there. Well, actually that's not, I don't think that is the pier. Do I have to get round this corner and then that's the area? No, that's not the pier. So I was wrong, or is it? No, I don't think that's it. was. Maybe that was the pier. Because I'm sure now as we come round, we're coming into Conwy, so check our height. We don't want to run into anything. So I'm trying to get my bearings at the minute. I'm wondering, I'll know when I see it. So as we turn, I'm going to make sure that we don't go to the side of that. I'll actually see behind us there. Don't think them roads quite rendered quite properly. Obviously it's showing the terrain and the things there, but I think the cars driving on that would have a little bit of an issue. I mean, please feel free at home to skip forward in the video if you want to get straight round to the castle. And if you're still along for the ride at the minute, I do appreciate that you're hanging in there. It's one of the things about doing these videos, I'm seeing this for the first time myself, so I'm obviously taking in all the views at the minute, and I'm having to convey that back to you as well. Now, that must have been Landundo Pier behind us, I'm sure of it, unless I've got my bearings completely wrong, because what I'm expecting is that as we turn this left turn here, we will be coming inland and we should be coming up to Conwy Castle. Got a hill right on top of the, a house right on top of the hill there. Did actually watch that on Netflix, The Haunting of Hill House. It's a series I thought that built itself up and up and up and up, and when it finally got to where it was going, it was a bit crap. Bit of a big anticlimax. Right, as we're coming in now, I do believe that we should be coming up to the castle, Conwy Castle. So going across from Conwy, going over to the other side on the left there, does take us over to Landundo, so I must have been right that was Landundo Pier that we went by. I'm sure the pier would have looked a little bit better though. Okay, so this is the point when you admit that you are slightly lost. I do hold my hands up because this is not Conwy Castle. Ah, yes it is. No, we're not lost. I was right. I can see over there. We have arrived at our destination. Virgin train going past down there. I can see the castle looming up in front of us. So as we come inland to this excitingly beautiful area of Wales, Conwy Castle is up in front of us. There is the bridge going out across, you call it the harbour? Across the sea coming into the river. And ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our sightseeing destination. So opposite over there was definitely Llandundo, because Llandundo is definitely straight over in that direction, and the castle is over to our right over there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to fly over the main town area here. That shadow of the plane on the floor down there. And then we're going to scoot along the bridge and get a good view of the castle and the harbour. So I'm going to turn us in. I mean, cracking area. Absolutely beautiful. And here is the castle. The towers on this castle are quite daunting. They really are very high up, and the steps, the spiral staircase to get up to them is quite open. And my missus made me walk up to the very top of it, of these towers here, and what I'm going to do, I'll make another pass round. We'll make another pass, we'll come back on it. Yeah, so I'm not brilliant with heights. She made me climb all the way to the top. So what I'm going to do, we'll swing round, let's watch the airspeed. Apply the bank, a bit of turn on. And it's this feeling and tight turnings that even in VR makes you feel a little bit funny. We're going to fly straight across there now. Bank over. I think what we'll do, we're going to turn now, have a good look down there. So there's the bridge that takes the trains through and the road. And that is Conwy Castle, fantastic place to visit. Something that they haven't got in the scenery is that the castle spreads out all around the town. What I'll do, when we do end this video, I'll put some pictures up from my holiday, just so you can get an idea of the area. And to actually be seeing this in VR, to be flying around it, it's oh man. It's a privilege. I do feel very privileged to have a system that's able to do this. And there's the bridge. I did actually stand on the front of the castle there and take a picture looking out over the road and the bridge. I'll put one of those up in a minute. And if we follow the water coming inland, we're heading up. If we go off back over that way, over Snowdonia National Park, and if we did do a left from Conwy and headed straight back over here, we're coming straight back over to Llandundo. We'll do one more pass at the castle, and then we're going to call this video at an end. So, longer flight than I expected. If you've hung in here, thank you very much. We have just gone from Liverpool, and we have flown down the Mersey. We followed the coast along the UK into Wales and down into the harbour area and at Conwy Castle. And as mentioned earlier in the video, please let me know in the comments below some of the better places in the UK for scenery and that we can visit. stunning area. Just want to take one level of maps off. Yeah, speed up a bit. Well, we'll do a fast flyby before we go. And here we are, our last view of Conwy Castle. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.